just this may turn out to be a fun class. And at any rate, I want to look back up on it and see what I can do to improve it. So let's go ahead. And the most important part when we're going to be working with these fascia roller balls is we want to start with a nice breath practice and a nice opening. Put this up on my head. I don't know how this will work with these glasses. Everything is new and an adventure today. So go ahead and come to your mat, sitting comfortably on a seat. Put your hands on top of your thighs. Go ahead and close your eyes or avert your eyes to the floor a few feet in front of you. And begin to slow your breath down. And deepen it. Draw your awareness inwards and feel your torso move in and out, up and down with each inhale and exhale. Turn your focus a little bit more inward and make some observations. Check in with yourself. As your breath slows and deepens more, bring your awareness to your low belly and allow it to start filling up with air first, then moving to the mid-belly and upper chest, and then pour out from the upper chest, going clear to the bottom. Inhale from the bottom, going clear to the top. Exhale from the top to the bottom. Continue on your own for about 3 more rounds of breath. On your next exhale, slowly blink your eyes open and allow your hands to continue to rest on top of your thighs. Inhale, hands come up overhead, palms come together, and exhale, they come into the heart. Inhale, hands come up overhead, palms together, and journey to heart center. Inhale, hands come up overhead, palms together, pause. Slowly twist open to the right, left hand on right thigh. Right hand is a kickstand below your shoulder. Inhale, grow tall. Core is strong. Exhale, deepen the twist, gazing over that right shoulder. And breathe. Let your shoulders soften and move away from your ears. And slowly turn your gaze to gaze over the left shoulder, still holding that twist. Breathe into your neck and your shoulders. Turn your gaze to look over that right shoulder again. Inhale, hands come back to center and slowly twist open to the left. Right hand on left thigh. Inhale, lengthen, grow tall. Exhale, deepen your twist. And breathe. Allow those shoulders to soften and fall away from your ears. And slowly turn your gaze to look over that right shoulder. Shoulders soften again. Gaze back over the left shoulder. Inhale, hands come back to center, and let's create a soft flow, twisting back open to the right. Inhale back to center, twist open to the left. Back to center and to the right. Back to center and to the left. Back to center. Left hand comes down to the ground and start to arch open to the left. Breathe into that right side body. Come up, right hand comes down, arch open to the right. Let's create a soft flow from side to side. Breathing into that side body, letting the arm stretch open, the rib cage and the waist. Breathe. Then come back to center. Inhale, hands come up overhead. Bend the right elbow. Bring the left hand to the right elbow and bring that arm close to your ear. Sitting up straight. Start to arch open towards the left and feel that additional opening going through your arm, your side body. And then turn your head to look up. And then turn your head to gaze down towards your left thigh. Soften your shoulders, breathe into your arm, breathe into your neck. Slowly come up, hands come back up overhead, bend the left elbow, bring that hand in between your shoulder blades and grab hold of the left elbow with your right hand, bringing it close to your head, and then start to lean over towards the right. Breathe here. Turn your gaze to look up at the ceiling, and then turn your gaze to look down at your right thigh and breathe. Inhale, hands come back up and start to hinge forward at the hips, hands outstretched. Come back up and come into cactus hands. Sitting up straight, start to draw the elbows back towards the wall behind you, stretching in front of your chest. Then straighten out the arms and move the backs of the hands towards the wall behind you. Try to drop those shoulders away from your ears. Breathe, feel the opening in your collarbone. Then release, draw some circles with your shoulders, loosen that up. And then bring your hands up overhead again and come back down to cactus hands. And then straighten your arms up. Take your left hand, bring it up and grab the top corner of the right side of your head and gently let your hand grow heavy and guide your head over to the left. Start to breathe into the side of your neck and then drop your right hand down towards the floor, feeling a deeper stretch. Just let that hand be heavy. Don't yank your neck head. And just breathe into the side of your neck and your shoulder. Let that shoulder grow heavy and fall away from your ear. Come up, outstretch the hands. Lift the right hand towards the ceiling and grab hold of the top corner of the left side of your head. And slowly let it grow heavy and guide your head over to the right. Breathe. Let that shoulder grow heavy, fall away from your ear. And drop your fingers down towards the floor. Breathe into your neck. Feel the opening going on. And then slowly come up. Drop your hands down towards the floor, palms facing up. Right hand, gaze at it. It comes up and over, gaze follows your hand as it lands on top of your left thigh. Left palm faces up, gaze follows it as it comes up and over and lands on top of your right thigh. Arms are crisscrossed. Drop those shoulders away from the ears, tuck your chin to your chest, suck in your gut, and breathe. Breathe into your shoulders, into your shoulder blades, into your neck. Feel the opening going on. Slowly come up and release. This time, left hand starts, gaze follows left hand as it comes up and lands on the right thigh. Right palm faces up, follow it as it comes over and lands on the left. Hands crisscrossed in the opposite direction. Shoulders are heavy. Tuck the chin, suck in the gut. Breathe. Breathe into your shoulders, into your neck, your shoulder blades, the fronts of your thighs. Come up, unravel your hands. Hands are on your thighs. Round your spine, look deep into your organs, coming into a seated cat. Inhale, chest lifts, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And come back to a neutral spine. Let's go ahead and rock forward onto our hands and knees, coming into tabletop. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, toes are tucked, and round your spine. Into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And come back to a neutral spine. Step those knees a little bit wider. Bring your feet together, point your toes, and sit back, buttocks to heel, forehead to mat. Child's pose. Suck in that gut, push on the heels of your hands. The bottom grows closer to the heels. Feel the opening in your rib cage, through your shoulders, through the backs of your arms, and breathe. Slowly walk your hands over to the left, walking that right hand a little further away from you, lowering the forehead down toward the mat. Breathe from pinky to hip. Feel your shoulder open. Feel your rib cage open. Breathe. Slowly walk your hands back to center and walk them over to the right, extending that left hand a little further away from you, lowering the forehead toward the mat. Breathe from pinky to hip. Slowly come back to center, extend the hands out, bringing them into prayer hands. Bend the elbows, lift your hands, bring the thumbs to the nape of your neck. Start to suck in your gut. Breathe into your armpits, the backs of your arms. Breathe into your rib cage. And slowly lower those hands down. Come back up into tabletop, narrowing the stance with your knees, and start to walk your hands forward towards the top of the mat, lowering the chest down, coming into puppy pose. Really breathe, pay attention to what's going on in the tops of your shoulders. Breathe here. Breathe into your armpits, your rib cage. And then let's walk our hands slowly over towards the left and start to lean in the opposite direction with our right hip. Feel the stretch in your hips and in your shoulders and arms. Breathe. And then come back to center and slowly walk your hands over towards the right. And take your left hip, counterbalance that, let it lean towards the left and stretch. Feel your hip open, feel your rib cage open. And then slowly come back up to center and stretch open into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Then go ahead and grab your little fascia balls. I've got mine in their little bag. So if you have a sock or something that you want to put them together, that's up to you. If you want your single one, it's going to feel different for everybody. But I want you to take these balls and so there's kind of a cavity. Your collarbone's right here, your shoulder is right here, and there's kind of that cavity between your collarbone and the breast tissue. There's kind of, that's where we want to put those. So let's go ahead and come down on our tummy. You might want a towel handy to balance yourself out, prop your head up, whatever you need to do to make this a little comfortable, because this is probably not going to be all that comfortable. I'm just warning you. So come down onto your belly, place those fascia balls right there in that little cavity. So we don't want it directly on the collarbone, and we don't want it directly on the roundy part of the shoulder. We're just going to try to open up that area a little bit. Now extend your right arm out straight and start to turn towards the left. You can have your left arm balancing you, and then maybe you bend that top knee a little bit to roll over on that side. And you're going to find some juicy parts here. Remember the yoga breath, and maybe you roll slightly from side to side to really find that sticky part. Now, if your little fascia balls or tennis balls seem too intense, consider putting one of your towels over it to cushion it a little bit. We don't have to be super intense to start with, but I'm sure you're finding some delicious parts there as you slightly roll through that little cavity area, kind of breaking up all of that congestion. And breathe. Now maybe you hold still in one of those positions and just let it dig in, and with each exhale, notice that the intensity goes down a little bit. And then slowly come up. And let's switch the balls over to the other side. Find that juicy spot. Like I said, if you want to bring your head down to a towel, but extend that left arm out straight and find that juicy spot and start to let those balls rock a little bit. Maybe you bend that top leg. Your right hand comes down to the mat to help balance you. And just find that juicy spot. Remember to breathe. Just breathe into those congested areas. We're trying to break up some of that. I promise you that this will feel a lot more awesome after we're done. It's amazing when we find all these things that hurt that we didn't know hurt, right? This is a wonderful way to detox. Now find and settle in for a minute. Breathe. And then slowly come up off that ball. Let's go ahead and sit in hero's pose. Clasp our hands behind us, drawing the elbows towards each other, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, and start to raise those knuckles up towards the wall behind you. Just stretch that front part, kind of counterbalance what we just did. Awesome. Let go. Let's take these fascia balls now, and we're going to sit side saddle on the right side. Have a block handy to cushion your head at the top of the mat. And take these fascia balls. Now you can either put it this way, where they're side by side like this, or up and down, or maybe just one. It's going to be but we're going to put it right here on that fleshy part of the shoulder. And go ahead and come down. Place that shoulder on those fascia balls and extend the right arm out straight. I've got to just settle in there so I can come down. And that just feels, I could call it delightful. That's a good word, delightful. It doesn't really feel delightful, but it really helps. So what I'm doing here now is I'm kind of moving those balls a little bit with my shoulder, massaging that outer part of my shoulder, the fleshy part. Just kind of up and down, maybe a little forward and back. You're going to find whatever works best for you here. Like I said, if you want to use both of them together, sometimes that the wider area makes it a little less intense. So up and down, forward and back. Just kind of massage that part of your shoulder. Find the one area and just settle in and breathe. Start to slowly lift up. Come back up to the side saddle. Take your right arm across your body and grab it with your left forearm and just bring that close to your body and let that outer part of your shoulder stretch open for a minute. While you're opening it, maybe you bend your right elbow up toward so that your fingers are up towards the ceiling. And then let that shoulder fall away from your ear. And breathe. Release. Switch your side saddle position to go on the other side. Have your block handy at the opposite end of your mat. Get your fascia balls ready. And come on down onto your side again. Bringing those balls right here to this outer fleshy part. You can have it sideways, up and down, maybe just one or the other. It's going to be different for each one of us. And since we're going through uncharted waters here, you find out what feels best. We're just trying to break up that congestion that settles into the shoulder. And then maybe start Bring your head down to the block. And I'm going to start rolling my shoulder up and down. First, just rolling, and I've got the balls to where they are side by side going from front to back of my shoulder. Instead of they're more horizontal instead of vertical. And I'm going to start there. And this, I extend your left arm out straight and maybe bring your right fingers down, tent those fingers to help support you. And come to the side of your head. And maybe you wiggle forward and back a little bit. This is really, I'm realizing how sore my shoulders really are. So you can keep that little massage going on, or you can find the really most delicious part here and settle in. And then send your breath into that shoulder, breathing into the tissue. Let it break up. Now, to divert your attention a little bit, notice the heat that's already been generated in your previous shoulder. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Slowly start to make your way up. Sitting side saddle, let's bring your left arm across your body. Bring your right arm up to bring it close to your chest and really stretch open that shoulder. Breathe here. Maybe you bend your elbow, maybe you keep it straight. The main thing is we just want to stretch out this outer shoulder. Breathe. And then release. Grab your bolster. Switch back to your right side saddle. Bring that bolster right up against the top of that right thigh. Bring your block to the top of the mat. Create that channel in between. And then just let yourself drape over that bolster. Extend your arm out straight. Come to the side of your head. Bring your left hand to the bolster. And settle in. Feel the heat that's been created in our shoulders. Let the top shoulder fall away from your ear. Feel a stretch in the side of your neck. Bring your left hand to your left hip and let the left shoulder start to fall into your back. Feel your chest open as you turn the chest a little more towards the ceiling. Just let that shoulder open up. Let your collarbone open. Start to raise those left fingers towards the ceiling and arch it over your head, bringing your fingertips down to the floor over your head in a nice arching fashion. And breathe into that whole left side body. Feel yourself stretch open from fingertip to hip. And settle in. Let your shoulders become soft. Let them feel heavy. Let them fall away from your ears. Start to draw a little arch with your fingers on the floor as that left hand comes down and meets the right hand. Once the hands meet, let the shoulders grow soft again. Push with your hands a little further away from your body and melt in. Move the left hand to the bolster. Use it to bring yourself upright. Switch your side saddle to the other side. On the left side, bring the bolster to the top of the left thigh. Bring your block to the top of the mat on the other side. Sitting up straight. Allow yourself to lower down over the bolster, bringing the side of your head to the block. Your left arm is outstretched straight, resting in that channel you've created between the block and the bolster. Bring your right hand to the top of the bolster and start letting that right shoulder become very heavy as it falls away from the ear towards the back. And then bring your right hand to your right hip. That right shoulder is growing heavier, falling onto your back. Feel your chest open slightly towards the ceiling. And breathe. Start to raise those right fingers towards the ceiling. Bring that hand up over your head and start to lower the fingers down onto the floor above your head. Stretching open, feel that right side body open. Feel your body sink further into the bolster. And once again, let those shoulders grow soft and fall away from your ears. Breathe. Start to draw that arch on the floor with your fingertips as the right hand travels down and lands on top of the left. Settling in, maybe you push away from your body a little bit with your hands. Stretching open the back. Shoulders are heavy, falling away from the ears. Feel that opening through the shoulders, through the shoulder blades, rib cage, arms. Start to move that right hand, place it on your bolster, and push slightly on that, bringing yourself back up to the seated position. Let's move our bolster off to the side and the blocks off to the side. Let's grab these fascia balls again. And this time, take the balls, and there's a place that's right in between your shoulder blade and your spine. So I want you to place those balls right there. I still have mine in the little bag. There again, that's an individual thing, but I can promise you that it's less intense if you have the two balls to disperse the weight. And then slowly come down onto your back, holding those balls. It's a little awkward. And then bring your weight onto those balls and turn onto your back as the best you can. Adjust those balls so they're right in between, right next to the shoulder blade and the spine. Try to open up. Maybe you bring your hands out to the side. Maybe you slowly rock from side to side. This is going to be a different level of intensity for each of us. If this is too pronounced, go ahead and pad that up with a towel. Outstretch the hands and breathe. The breath is what's going to make this bearable. If you need to bend your knees, both of them, one of them, I'm going to have one. It's the opposite side to where I've got those balls. I've got the balls on my left shoulder, and I've got my right knee bent. I'm just going to settle into that for a minute, wiggle a little bit. Three more thoughtful rounds of breath. Now come up slightly, move the balls over, bring them to the opposite side between the other shoulder blade and your spine. Make sure it's in between, not on your spine. And it may take a little bit of adjusting. It's awkward any way you slice it. I'm going to bend my left knee. My hands are going to be out straight. I'll start to rock slowly from side to side. This is pretty intense. So just breathe the best you can. Adjust it where you need to. If it needs to go up or down slightly, and it's just a fraction of an inch. And breathe. Feel at the same time, feel the front of your chest open. 3 more rounds of breath. Slowly roll off those balls. Come back up. Let's go ahead and come back up into tabletop. Round your spine, stretching into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And come back down into puppy pose. Stretch open where we just were. Walk your hands over to the left and push those right hips in the opposite direction. Breathe here. Walk your hands over to the right, push those left hips in the opposite direction and breathe. And then come back up. Let's go ahead and come back down onto our backs. Knees are bent. Bring your hands out straight in the letter T. Step your feet as wide as your mat and just allow your knees to fall into each other. Let your shoulders grow soft as they move away from your ears. Let your whole upper body start to sink into the mat. Bring the knees up upright and allow your knees to drop to the left. Knees come back to center and they drop to the right. Knees back to center, they drop to the left. Back to center, and they drop to the right. Back to center. Let's go ahead and pick up your right foot, cross it over your left thigh, pull those toes back and active, interlace your hands behind your left thigh, and bring the knees towards your chest. Let the shoulders grow heavy. Let them fall towards the mat, fall away from your ears. Slowly breathe into your right hip, inner thigh, outer thigh. Extend your hands out straight and slowly start to lower that right foot down towards the floor. You may bring it to a block if you can't stretch open this far. And breathe. Breathe into the hip. Breathe into the thigh. Allow your shoulders to stay on the mat. Let them be heavy. Notice how they feel a little more open. Slowly bring your legs back to center. Place that right foot on the mat. Lift up the left foot, cross it over the right thigh. Pull those toes back and active. Interlace your fingers behind your right thigh and start to slowly bring the knees into your chest. Let those shoulders grow heavy. Let them gravitate towards the mat, fall away from your ears. Breathe into your hips and to your legs. Extend your arms out straight and slowly turn and lower that left foot down towards the floor or to a block, keeping the left shoulder on the mat. See if your shoulders can soften on the top and sink heavier into the mat. Breathe into all the areas that need to soften. Slowly start to bring the knees back to center. Uncross that left foot, bring it down to the mat. Arms are extended out straight in the letter T, and let your knees fall into each other. Let your shoulder blades sink into the mat. Slowly turn your head and look left. Head comes back to center and turn to gaze to the right. And then back to center. Roll over onto your right side, coming back upright. Let's go ahead and grab a block. We're going to grab your bolster, grab a couple of blocks, have a towel handy or your blanket, maybe even a couple of towels. I'll let you set up however you want, but first, we're going to take the block on the medium setting and put it at the edge of the mat and put the end of your bolster on top of that, creating this nice little wedge. Bring your bottom, put it clear up against the bolster, and start to lower your chest down, your back onto the bolster. Let your hands fall open to the sides. Put the bottoms of your feet together, coming into butterfly pose. And let's just pause here for a moment. Let the chest open. Let the shoulders soften. Let the inner thighs open. See if you can let those shoulders fall away from your ears. Breathe into your sternum. Breathe into your collarbone. Feel the fronts of your shoulders open. Start to gather your knees up towards each other. Roll off of your bolster, coming back up into a seated position. And let's go ahead and start to set up for our final relaxation pose. Take your bolster, place it under your knees. Take one block and place it under your heel. The other block, place it under the other heel. Take your towel. I like mine folded into thirds and then folded in half, something to give me some weight. And then I come down onto your back, place that towel into the crease of your hips, giving it some weight. And come down to your back. Allow your hands to open up, palms facing up. Hands are more down towards your hips, kind of outstretched in a 45-degree. Start to settle in. Let your head grow heavy into the mat. Let your shoulders grow heavy as they sink into the mat. Your elbows are heavy, the backs of your hands. Feel your knees sink into the bolster. Feel the towel push your hips down into the mat. Your heels are heavy. Close your eyes and just breathe. Any pinchy parts, send your breath there and send that out through your fingertips and toes. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing life force back. Draw circles with your wrists and your ankles. Interlace your fingers, stretch them high above your head toward the wall behind you. Pull your toes back and active. Grow long, stretch from knuckles to heels. See if you can even let the tops of your shoulders grow soft. Bend your knees, bring them into your chest. Wrap your shins around your arms around your shins. Slowly rock from side to side. Roll over onto your right side, resting your head in your arm. And pause here for a moment. And make your way up to a comfortable seat, either sitting or kneeling on a block or even on your bolster. Inhale, bring your hands up overhead. Palms come together, and exhale, they come into the heart. One more time, hands come up overhead, palms together, and come into heart center. Thank you so much for joining me for Restore today and creating wellness for yourself. I'm hoping that you're enjoying this new journey that we're embarking on. Have an awesome rest of the day and evening. Namaste.